My name is Diego, and I was there when Emily's story changed forever. It was a crisp autumn morning on October 15th, just outside a quaint cafe in downtown Seattle, where she stood, her heart heavy yet hopeful. Emily had just received the divorce papers from her ex-husband, a man she once loved fiercely but who had left her for a younger woman, shattering the life they had built together. As she smiled at the barista, it was clear that her world was crumbling. The aroma of fresh coffee filled the air, mingling with the faint sounds of distant traffic, a stark contrast to the heartbreak that echoed within her. She smiled but trembled, caught between relief and despair. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that beneath her calm facade lay a storm, a decision that would change everything she believed about love and trust. Would she find the strength to reclaim her life, or would the shadows of the past consume her? In that moment, as she stood on the precipice of a new beginning, she realized that perhaps, just perhaps, the end of one chapter could lead to the start of something extraordinary. Emily stood in her cozy kitchen, the heart of her home, as the aroma of pancakes filled the air, mingling with the fresh scent of rain on the pavement outside. The distant hum of traffic created a soothing backdrop, a reminder of the bustling world beyond her sanctuary. She whisks the batter, her movements fluid and practiced, a ritual passed down through generations. Each flip of the pancake was a small act of love, a promise of warmth and togetherness for her family. Her husband Jason had always appreciated her culinary skills, often praising her for the meals that brought everyone together. Tonight was no exception. She had planned a traditional family dinner, a gathering that emphasized their bond as husband and wife and as parents. Their daughter was spending the night at a friend's house, leaving just the two of them to enjoy the meal. As she arranged the pancakes on a plate, she felt a flicker of hope. Tonight would be special. "Dinner's almost ready," Emily called out, her voice bright and cheerful. "Great, I'll set the table," Jason replied, his tone enthusiastic, but she sensed an underlying distraction. He had been preoccupied lately, often lost in thought, and Emily couldn't help but wonder what weighed on his mind. Just as she was pouring syrup over the fluffy pancakes, her phone rang. Glancing at the screen, a smile broke across her face. It was her mother. She answered quickly, hoping to share her excitement about the dinner. "Hi, Mom," Emily said, her heart warming at the sound of her mother's familiar voice. "Emily, dear, I was just thinking about you. How are things with Jason?" her mother asked, genuine concern lacing her words. "Oh, you know, the usual, just cooking dinner," Emily replied, trying to keep her tone light, though a small knot of unease twisted in her stomach. "Remember, honey, loyalty is the foundation of a strong marriage. Your father always said that," her mother continued, nostalgia creeping into her voice. "It's so important, especially in these times. Love is tested in ways we can't always anticipate." Emily paused, the weight of her mother's words hanging in the air. Thought of her parents, their unwavering commitment to each other despite the storms they faced. It was a legacy she had cherished and aspired to replicate with Jason. "Mom, I really appreciate your advice," Emily said softly, her heart sinking slightly as she recalled the flickers of doubt she had seen in Jason lately. "I just want us to be happy." "Oh my God, Emily, I can't believe how quickly time flies. Just remember, communication is key. Never take each other for granted," her mother added, her voice filled with wisdom. "Absolutely, Mom. I'll keep that in mind," Emily assured her. But as she hung up, a sense of foreboding washed over her. In the kitchen, it hurt like hope. The rain continued to patter gently against the windows, a reminder of the world outside, where everything felt heavy and uncertain. Jason joined her at the table, his smile bright but his eyes distant. "What did your mom say?" he asked, reaching for a pancake. "She just reminded me about the importance of loyalty," Emily replied, gauging his reaction. "Yeah, loyalty's important," he said, his voice nonchalant, as if the words held no real significance. Emily felt her heart race, a sudden unease settling in. "Is everything okay, Jason? You've seemed a bit off lately." He shrugged, his gaze drifting to the window where the rain danced in rivulets down the glass. "Just work stuff. You know how it is. I'm fine." That moment in the kitchen changed everything. Emily wanted to press further, to dig beneath the surface of his words, but a part of her hesitated. She didn't want to ruin this moment, this dinner she had put so much effort into. Instead, she forced a smile, attempting to dispel the dark cloud that threatened to overshadow their evening. As they ate, the conversation flowed, but an invisible barrier hung between them. Emily found herself lost in thought, the pancakes suddenly feeling heavy in her stomach. She recalled her mother's words, the lingering feeling of dread that something was off. Cultural reflection. In the kitchen, it hurt like hope. "Emily?" Jason's voice pulled her from her reverie. "Yes," she replied, trying to shake off the unease. "I've been thinking," he began, his tone shifting. Her heart raced as she braced herself for what was to come. "I think we need to talk about our future." In that moment, as the rain continued to fall and the distant sounds of traffic filled the air, Emily felt a chill run down her spine. She had no idea how drastically everything was about to change. Emily gazed out the window. "What a beautiful day," she whispered. Jason noticed her distant look. "You seem lost in thought." Emily turned back to Jason, her heart racing as she searched his face for a clue to his thoughts. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. He leaned back in his chair, folding his arms across his chest, and the weight of his silence filled the room. "I've been thinking about where we're headed," he finally said, his gaze steady on hers. "It feels like we're just coasting." Emily swallowed hard. The pancakes sat untouched on her plate, their sweetness now bitter on her tongue. "Coasting? But we're a family, Jason. We have our routines, our life together. Isn't that enough?" He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she recognized as a sign of stress. "I don't know, Em. Sometimes I feel like we're just going through the motions. I want more for us, more than this routine." The rain outside intensified, drumming against the windows, echoing the turmoil inside her. "What more do you want?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "We have a home, a daughter. Isn't that what matters?" Jason sighed, leaning forward, his brow furrowed. "I want us to dream again, to plan trips, to find new hobbies together. I miss that spark, that excitement we used to have." His words hung in the air like a challenge. Emily felt a pang of longing for those carefree days when their laughter filled the house and they would stay up late planning adventures. "I miss that too," she admitted, her voice softening. "But life gets busy, and sometimes it's hard to keep that fire alive." He nodded, his expression softening. "Exactly. And I don't want to lose what we have. I just think we need to make an effort, together." The tension in the room began to ease, the familiar smell of pancakes filling the space between them. "Preserve the original language of the table," taking his hand in hers. "Then let's do it. Let's plan something, just the two of us." A smile broke across Jason's face, and the warmth of her hope began to seep back in. "Really? You mean it?" "Absolutely," Emily replied, her heart swelling with renewed determination. "Let's find that spark again." The smell of fresh coffee filled the living room, mingling with the faint sound of wind chimes swaying gently in the morning breeze. Emily stood at the kitchen counter, pouring steaming coffee into her favorite mug, a small ritual she found comforting amidst the chaos of her life. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. Her mind replayed the previous night's argument with Jason, each word echoing painfully in her memory. "Emily, this isn't working anymore," Jason had shouted, his frustration spilling over. "I need more than what we have." Her heart sank as she recalled the expression on his face, one she had never thought she would see directed at her. "What do you mean by more? We have a family, Jason," she had pleaded, desperation clawing at her throat. But he had just shrugged, his eyes hardening. "You wouldn't understand. I've met someone else, someone who gets me." Those words felt like knives, twisting deep into her chest. Now, with the coffee steaming in front of her, she felt the weight of disbelief settle in. "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening," she whispered to herself, the reality of his betrayal settling like a heavy fog around her. Jason had moved out that very evening, leaving behind a whirlwind of confusion and hurt. The kids were still asleep when he packed his things, a silent goodbye that felt more like a cruel joke than a farewell. They had been so excited for the family dinner planned for that night, unaware that their world was about to be shattered. Emily's phone buzzed, breaking her reverie. It was Michael, her loyal friend, checking in. "Hey, how are you holding up?" he texted. Taking a moment to gather herself, she replied, "Not great. Jason moved out. He's with someone else." Michael's response was swift. "I'm on my way. You're not alone in this, Em." As she awaited his arrival, she thought of Rachel, her sister, who had always harbored a quiet envy towards the life Emily had built. Would Rachel be supportive, or would she revel in Emily's misfortune? The uncertainty gnawed at her. The last thing she needed was judgment from someone so close. A sudden knock on the door startled her, and Emily rushed to open it, her heart lifting at the sight of Michael. His presence felt like a warm blanket on a cold night. "Hey, let's get you out of this house for a bit," he said, stepping inside and wrapping her in a comforting hug. "I brought some muffins and coffee." "Thanks, I really needed this," she replied, her voice shaky but grateful. Michael set the bag on the kitchen counter and pulled out the muffins, their sweet aroma mixing with the coffee. "You deserve some good things right now." As they sat in the living room, the silence felt heavy, yet comforting. Emily couldn't help but share the painful details. "I never saw it coming, Michael. One moment we were planning our future, and the next," she trailed off, her eyes brimming with tears. Michael leaned forward, concern etched on his face. "Emily, you're strong. You'll get through this. I know it feels impossible now, but you have people who care about you." "I just can't shake off this feeling of betrayal," she said, her voice breaking. "It's like I've lost everything I believed in." In that moment, Emily felt the room close in around her, the walls whispering reminders of love now lost. In the living room, it hurt like heartbreak. The laughter, the dreams, the plans, they all felt so far away now, preserved by an emptiness she couldn't fathom. "You're not alone," Michael said gently. "We'll figure this out together." As they spoke, Emily couldn't help but reflect on the strength of the women in her life. Each had faced their own battles, some with spouses, some with family. It was a shared experience that wove a tapestry of resilience among them, one she now found herself a part of. Michael's phone buzzed, and he glanced at it. "It's Rachel," he said. "Do you want me to answer?" "No, I'll take it," Emily replied, steeling herself. She picked up the phone and pressed the screen. "Hello? Emily, I heard about Jason. Are you okay?" Rachel's voice dripped with concern, but Emily could sense the undercurrent of curiosity. "I'm managing," Emily said, keeping her tone neutral. "I can come over if you need support," Rachel offered, though Emily could hear the slight edge in her voice, as if she were secretly assessing the situation for her own gain. "Thanks, but I have Michael here," Emily replied, feeling a surge of protectiveness over her friend. "Right. Well, let me know if you need anything," Rachel said, her tone shifting slightly. As Emily hung up, she felt a mix of emotions. Her sister's support felt conditional, a stark contrast to Michael's unwavering loyalty. The wind chimes tinkled softly outside, and for the first time since Jason's departure, Emily felt a flicker of hope. Despite the heartbreak, she had allies in her corner, and maybe, just maybe, she could rebuild her life from the ashes of betrayal. Emily took a deep breath. "We need to have a serious conversation." Jason tensed up. "About what, exactly?" The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the porch where Emily sat, her heart heavy. The smell of fresh grass wafted through the air, mingling with the faint scent of the pancakes she had just made. She wrapped her arms around her knees. Preserve the original language of the backyard where Jason used to toss the football with their son. It felt like a lifetime ago. Suddenly, the door creaked open and Jason stepped outside, his expression unreadable. Emily's heart sank as he leaned against the porch railing, the very spot where they had shared countless laughs and dreams. She felt a rush of anger mixed with sorrow. "Emily, we need to talk," he said, the casual tone in his voice grating against her nerves. "Oh my God, you think we need to talk?" Emily shot back, her voice rising. "You've been gone for weeks. You left me for someone younger, and you think we can just talk it out like it's no big deal?" Jason sighed, rubbing the back of his neck as if her words pained him. "I didn't want it to end like this. I felt like I was losing myself in our life together." "Losing yourself? What about me? What about everything we built?" Emily demanded, her chest tightening with each word. "You think I wanted to be stuck in this perfect little bubble forever?" "I felt like I was trapped, Emily," Jason replied, his voice almost pleading. "I needed more excitement, more passion. I didn't want to hurt you, but I just couldn't take it anymore." As he spoke, Emily's heart shattered a little more. She fought back tears, feeling betrayed, not just by him, but by the life they had shared. "You didn't think about what you were doing? You didn't think about our family?" Jason's eyes flickered with a hint of regret. "I thought I'd be happier. I thought..." "Thought what?" Emily interjected, her voice rising. "That leaving would make everything better? You've crushed me, Jason." He opened his mouth to respond, but the words fell silent. For a moment, they stood there, the air thick with tension. The sound of birds chirping filled the void, a reminder of the life outside their crumbling relationship. "Maybe I was selfish," he finally said, his gaze dropping to the porch floor. "But I thought it was the only way to find happiness." Emily took a step back, feeling the weight of his words settle like a stone in her stomach. "You didn't even try to work on things, you just ran away." "I was scared," Jason admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know how to fix it." His admission hit her like a wave. For a fleeting moment, Emily felt a pang of sympathy, but then she remembered the nights spent waiting for him to come home, the hollow spaces where love once thrived. "You didn't even try, Jason. You just gave up on us." With a heavy sigh, Jason turned away, staring out into the distance as if searching for something he'd lost. Emily wanted to scream, to shake him and make him understand the depth of her pain. Instead, she took a deep breath, her heart aching. That moment on the porch changed everything. It was no longer about love or partnership, it was about survival. As the days dragged on, Emily found herself lost in a fog of heartache. She kept replaying the conversation over and over in her mind, each time feeling the sting of betrayal cut deeper. But she also knew she couldn't stay trapped in this cycle of despair. With a hesitant heart, she decided to attend a support group for women dealing with infidelity. The first meeting felt daunting. She walked into the room filled with unfamiliar faces, her palms clammy. But as she sat in a circle of women sharing their stories, Emily began to feel a flicker of hope ignite within her. One woman, Sophia, stood out among the rest. With a fierce spirit and an unwavering belief in empowerment, she spoke passionately about regaining one's sense of self after betrayal. "You're not just a victim of someone else's choices," Sophia said, her eyes sparkling with conviction. "You are the author of your own story. Take back your power." Emily felt a warmth spread through her chest, a feeling she hadn't experienced in months. She began to share her own story, her voice trembling but growing stronger with each word. "I thought my life was over, but I want to find my strength again," she confessed, looking around at the supportive faces. Later, as she walked out of the meeting, she felt lighter, almost free. It was then that she received a text from Rachel, her sister. "I heard about Jason. I know you're hurting, but maybe this is a chance for you to finally be happy?" Emily paused, staring at the message. There was a hidden tone in Rachel's words, one that felt unsettling. It was almost as if Rachel was hinting at something more. Her heart raced. Just then, a realization struck Emily like a bolt of lightning. What if Rachel's envious tendencies had driven her to support Jason? What if she had played a part in this betrayal? Suddenly, the porch felt like a prison. The warmth of the sun and the chirping of the birds faded into the background as Emily's mind raced. She needed to confront Rachel, to uncover the truth about what had really happened. For the first time, hope and determination coursed through her veins. The heartbreak didn't have to be the end. It could be the beginning of something new. "I can't believe you did this," Emily exclaimed. Jason tried to explain, but words failed him. The morning sun streamed through the living room window, casting a warm glow that felt almost comforting against Emily's heavy heart. The smell of fresh coffee lingered in the air, a bittersweet reminder of the mornings she used to cherish with Jason. Birds chirped outside, their cheerful melodies starkly contrasting the turmoil brewing inside her. Emily sat on the couch, her hands wrapped around a mug, the ceramic warm against her palms, grounding her in the present moment. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Sophia, a mutual friend who had always been supportive yet honest. "We need to talk," it read. Emily's heart sank. She could feel the gravity of the situation pulling her down, deeper into a pit of uncertainty. When they finally met at a small cafe later that day, the atmosphere was heavy with unspoken words. "Emily, I can't keep this from you any longer," Sophia began, her voice low and serious. "Jason has been unhappy for years. He told me about his struggles, feeling trapped, wanting something more. I thought you should know." "Oh my God," Emily gasped, her hand trembling as she set her coffee down. "I can't believe this. All this time, I thought he was happy." The betrayal felt like a punch to her gut, and she struggled to breathe as the weight of Jason's confession settled over her like a dark cloud. Sophia reached across the table, her eyes filled with sympathy. "I didn't want to hurt you, but you deserve the truth. You deserve to know why he left." Emily nodded slowly, her mind racing. This revelation changed everything. It wasn't just Jason's betrayal. It was the realization that she had been living in a fantasy, unaware of the cracks beneath their seemingly perfect life. Later that evening, Emily returned home, her mind still swirling with thoughts of Jason and his new life. She could hear her children in the living room, their laughter a stark reminder of what she was fighting for. She approached the door, hesitant but determined to face whatever awaited her inside. As she stepped into the room, she caught snippets of a conversation between her son and daughter. "But Lily isn't as perfect as Dad thinks," her daughter whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. "She has her own problems, you know. She's just good at hiding them." Emily's heart raced. It felt like the universe was conspiring to unveil the truth. She leaned against the doorframe, listening intently. "Yeah, but he doesn't see that," her son replied. "He thinks she's everything he wanted, but I don't know. I think she's just pretending." The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of unspoken emotions. Emily's mind raced as she processed this unexpected twist. Jason had left her for someone he believed was flawless, yet even that picture-perfect image was marred by insecurities. A wave of mixed emotions washed over her: anger, sadness, and a strange sense of relief. The betrayal hurt, but knowing that Jason's choice was not as perfect as it appeared gave her a glimmer of hope. Maybe this wasn't the end. "Emily?" Michael's voice broke through her thoughts as he entered the room, concern etched on his face. "Are you okay?" She turned to him, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I thought I knew everything, but I've been living a lie. Jason's been unhappy for years, and now I find out that even Lily isn't what he thinks she is." Michael stepped closer, his presence comforting. "I'm here for you. Whatever you decide to do next, you don't have to face it alone." Emily took a deep breath. The warmth of the coffee she had poured earlier still lingering in her hands. "I don't know what to do. My heart is breaking, but I can't just let him walk away with this illusion. He needs to understand the truth." "Then you need to confront him," Michael said firmly. "You deserve to have your voice heard." The resolve began to build within her, pushing away the shadows of doubt. She had been the devoted wife, the one who had stood by Jason through thick and thin, only to be cast aside. But now, she realized she had the power to reclaim her story. In that moment, everything shifted. The betrayal that once felt insurmountable began to transform into a source of strength. Emily was ready to confront Jason, to confront the truth, not just for herself, but for her children and their future. As she looked around the living room, the laughter of her children echoing in her ears, she felt a sense of clarity. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of her journey to rediscover herself. With newfound determination, she resolved to face Jason, to seek the answers she deserved, and to reclaim her life. And as she prepared for the confrontation, she whispered to herself, "I will not be defined by his choices. I will rise above." "I can't believe this," Emily whispered in disbelief. "I can explain everything," Jason said desperately. Emily stood in her kitchen, the gentle sound of wind chimes dancing through the open window as the scent of fresh coffee filled the air. It was a soothing morning ritual she had clung to, a small semblance of normalcy in the chaos that had overtaken her life. Yet, beneath the surface, her heart felt heavy, weighed down by the betrayal that had shattered her world. She stared at the canvas set up on the easel, the vibrant colors reflecting her tumultuous emotions. Painting had once been her passion, a refuge she had let slip away amid the demands of marriage and family. But now, with Jason gone, the urge to express her feelings through art had surged back to life. Each brushstroke was cathartic, a release of the pent-up sorrow and anger that had threatened to consume her. Days turned into weeks, and as she painted, she found herself healing in ways she never anticipated. The local art community took notice, and soon enough, she was preparing for an exhibit that would showcase her journey. Each piece told a story of heartache and resilience, capturing the essence of her struggle. On the day of the exhibit, Emily felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. She wore a simple yet elegant dress, her hair cascading in soft waves, a stark contrast to the turmoil within. The gallery buzzed with energy, friends and strangers mingling, all eager to see the art that had blossomed from pain. Then, in the midst of the crowd, she saw him. Jason stood there, an awkward smile on his face, his eyes scanning the room until they met hers. Emily's heart sank. "Oh my God, I can't believe this," she whispered to herself, a wave of anger and confusion washing over her. She felt Michael's reassuring presence beside her. "Are you okay?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "Yeah," she replied, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. "Just surprised." Jason approached, his expression shifting to one of regret. "Emily, I didn't think you'd be here." "Well, it is my exhibit," she said coolly, crossing her arms as she took a breath to steady herself. The smell of fresh grass wafted through the open door, momentarily distracting her from the knot in her stomach. "I've been meaning to reach out," Jason continued, his tone almost pleading. "I regret how things ended. I thought I wanted something different, but you left me for a younger woman," Emily interjected, her voice steady despite the emotions bubbling beneath the surface. "You made your choice, Jason. You can't just waltz back in and expect everything to be fine." He looked down, shame flooding his features. "I know. I was selfish. I thought I could find happiness, but it's not what I thought it would be." "Is that why you're here? To tell me how miserable you are now?" She felt the anger rise, the betrayal still fresh, even as she had begun to heal. Michael stepped in, sensing the tension. "Maybe we should take a step back," he suggested, but Emily shook her head. "No, Michael, this is something I need to do." She turned back to Jason, determination shining in her eyes. "You don't get to come back into my life and expect forgiveness just because you feel bad." Jason opened his mouth to respond, but she held up a hand to stop him. "I've spent too long letting your decisions dictate my happiness. I am not that person anymore." As the words hung in the air, she felt a sense of clarity wash over her. This was her moment, her declaration of independence. "I hope you find what you're looking for," she said softly, her voice now steady and calm. "But it won't be with me." With that, she turned away, her heart pounding not from fear, but from empowerment. She had reclaimed her voice, her life, and her art. The gallery buzzed around her, but in that moment, she felt a surge of strength. As she walked away, she caught a glimpse of her paintings, each canvas a testament to her journey, each color a reflection of her resilience. She was no longer the woman who had been left behind. She was Emily, an artist, a survivor, and she was just beginning to embrace the life waiting for her beyond betrayal. And in that moment, she knew her heart would never sink again. As she walked away, the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses faded into the background, replaced by the rhythmic pulse of her heart. Emily stepped outside, the cool evening air wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. She inhaled deeply, the scent of damp earth lingering in the air after a brief rain earlier that day. The clouds had parted, revealing a dusky sky painted in hues of orange and purple, a perfect backdrop for her newfound freedom. "Hey!" Michael called after her, his voice a mix of concern and admiration. He caught up, his brow slightly furrowed. "You handled that really well. I'm proud of you." "Thanks," she replied, a small smile tugging at her lips. "I didn't realize how much I needed to say all that. It's like I finally let go of the weight I've been carrying." He nodded, his eyes warm with understanding. "You deserve to feel light. Let's grab a drink and celebrate your success. This is your night after all." Emily glanced back at the gallery, where the soft sounds of conversations mingled with the gentle clinking of wine glasses. She felt a twinge of nostalgia, but it was quickly overshadowed by excitement for what lay ahead. "You're right, let's do it." They made their way to a cozy cafe nearby, the streetlights casting a golden glow on the pavement. As they entered, the familiar scent of roasted coffee beans enveloped them, a stark contrast to the heaviness she had felt only moments before. They settled into a corner booth, the warm ambiance providing a safe haven. "Your art is incredible, Emily," Michael said, leaning back in his seat, his gaze steady on her. "Each piece tells a story, and you've turned your pain into something beautiful." She felt a blush creeping up her cheeks. "I just needed to express myself again. It's been so long since I felt this alive." "Then let's keep that momentum going," he encouraged. "What's next for you?" "I want to keep painting, maybe even explore different mediums. I've been thinking about taking a class or collaborating with other artists." Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, visions of vibrant colors and new techniques swirling in her mind. "That sounds amazing. You've got this incredible fire in you, Emily. Don't let it go out." As they chatted, the warmth of the cafe and Michael's unwavering support filled her with a sense of possibility. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she was standing at the edge of something beautiful, ready to leap into the unknown. The future was no longer a source of dread, but a canvas yet to be painted. A canvas she would fill with the colors of her dreams, her resilience, and her newfound strength. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the bustling cafe as Emily took a deep breath, trying to quell the storm brewing inside her. She could hear the chirping of birds outside, their carefree songs contrasting sharply with the turmoil in her heart. She glanced at her phone. It was almost time. Today was the day she would confront Lily, the woman who had shattered her life. As she settled into a corner booth, her fingers nervously traced the rim of her coffee cup. The familiar scent was comforting, yet it did little to ease the tension coiling in her stomach. Oh my God, how had it come to this? She had spent years building a life, a family, only to have it ripped apart in the blink of an eye. When Lily walked in, Emily felt her heart sink. She was everything Jason had described: vibrant, youthful, and utterly oblivious to the chaos she had caused. Emily could almost hear the echoes of Jason's words in her mind. It's different with her. But this was not about him. It was about her. Emily, Lily said, her voice a mixture of surprise and uncertainty as she approached the table. Sit down, Emily replied, her tone firm yet trembling. She needed to take control of the narrative. We need to talk. Lily hesitated, but eventually slid into the seat across from her. I didn't expect you to want to meet. I didn't expect you to come into my life either, Emily shot back, her words sharper than she intended. Lily fidgeted, avoiding Emily's gaze. Stop, Emily interrupted, raising her hand. I don't want to hear excuses. You've made your choices. And they've hurt more than just me. You're not the only one who's been affected here. Lily looked up, her expression shifting from defensiveness to something resembling guilt. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I thought what? Emily cut in, her voice rising. That love could justify breaking apart a family? That your happiness could come at the expense of mine? You have no idea what you've done. The tension in the air thickened, palpable and raw. Emily's heart raced as she spoke, each word heavy with the weight of betrayal. She could feel her emotions bubbling to the surface, like a volcano ready to erupt. Do you even know how Jason's actions have impacted our community? Friends, family, they all looked up to us, to our life together. Lily's eyes widened, realizing the ripple effect of their choices. I never wanted that. I thought. You thought what? Emily pressed, her voice steady now. That it wouldn't matter? That you could just waltz in and take what wasn't yours without consequences? Before Lily could respond, the door swung open and Jason stepped in, his presence immediately shifting the energy in the cafe. Emily's stomach twisted again, but this time it was a mix of anger and determination. She wouldn't let him dictate this moment any longer. Emily, what's going on? Jason asked, his voice laced with concern, but Emily could hear the underlying guilt. I was just talking to Lily, she said coldly. You should have thought about this before you decided to leave. Jason's eyes darted between the two women, confusion etched on his face. I didn't know you were meeting. No, you never know anything, do you? Emily shot back, rising to her full height. You left your family for a younger woman, and now you want to play the concerned ex-husband? My heart sank every time I had to explain to our friends why you were absent. You didn't just hurt me, you hurt everyone who cared about us. The cafe fell silent, all eyes turning toward the confrontation unfolding in the corner. Emily felt a mix of anger and empowerment. She was finally speaking her truth. You think this is just between us? You've disrupted lives, Jason, and now you have the audacity to come in here and act like it's all fine? Jason opened his mouth to respond, but Emily continued, her voice unwavering. You can't just walk back into my life and expect everything to be okay. You've made your choices, and now we all have to deal with the fallout. Lily, who had been silent until now, chimed in, I never wanted this either. I never wanted to hurt you. The words hung in the air, heavy and charged. Emily looked at Lily, seeing the flicker of sincerity in her eyes. For a brief moment, she felt a twinge of empathy. But then she turned back to Jason, the man who had shattered her world. You made your choice, and now we're all living with it. But I refuse to be a victim anymore. In that instant, preserve the original language of hope. The confrontation was not just about anger, it was about reclaiming her narrative. No longer would she allow Jason's actions to define her life. She would rise from the ashes of their betrayal, stronger than ever. As the tension simmered, Emily took a deep breath, the smell of coffee now a reminder of her resilience. She would not allow Jason or anyone else to dictate her future. Today was the beginning of a new chapter, one where she would stand tall and proud, ready to embrace whatever came next. "Enough!" Emily shouted, her voice echoing. "Please let me speak," Jason pleaded. "There's nothing left to say," Emily finalized. Emily stood in her backyard, the morning sun filtering through the leaves, casting gentle shadows on the grass. The smell of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the sweet aroma of apple pie cooling on the table. It was a quiet moment, one that held the promise of peace. But her heart still bore the scars of betrayal. After months of turmoil, she had finally found her footing. Art had become her refuge, each brushstroke a cathartic release of the pain Jason had inflicted. She painted vibrant canvases that expressed not only her sorrow, but also her resilience. The local art community had embraced her work, and she felt a sense of belonging that had long been absent in her marriage. As she sipped her coffee, Emily's thoughts drifted to the support network she was establishing for women affected by infidelity. "Oh my God," she murmured to herself, a bittersweet smile touching her lips. "If I can help just one woman feel less alone, it'll all be worth it." Her heart sank for the countless souls who had endured similar heartbreak, and she felt a stirring within her to advocate for them. Rachel had never been the supportive sister she needed, always overshadowed by Emily's seemingly perfect life. But now, with Emily's newfound strength, preserve the original language of the text, replaced by a grudging respect. They had finally begun to reconnect, with Emily sharing her journey and Rachel listening, truly listening for the first time. One afternoon, as Emily prepared for a gathering of her support group, she received a text from Michael. "Hey, just checking in. Can't wait to see everyone tonight." His unwavering friendship had been a beacon during her darkest days, and she appreciated the effort he made to ensure she felt valued. Later that evening, with the scent of apple pie lingering in the air and distant traffic humming softly in the background, Emily welcomed a group of women into her home. They shared stories of heartache, betrayal, and resilience. With every shared experience, Emily felt the weight of her own pain lift a little more. "Thank you for creating this space," one woman said, her voice trembling. "I thought I was alone in this." Emily's heart swelled with empathy. "You're not alone," she replied gently. "We're here for each other." As they spoke, a surprising revelation emerged from the shadows of their conversations. The women began to discuss their ex-partners, and Emily learned that Jason wasn't the only one who had left someone behind. The room fell silent as they shared tales of deceit, lies, and the emotional wreckage left in the wake of selfish decisions. It was in that moment that Emily realized how many lives Jason had affected, how his choices had rippled outwards, leaving scars beyond her own. "Can you believe the audacity of some people?" Rachel chimed in, shaking her head. "Leaving a stable life for a fleeting fantasy, it's mind-boggling." Emily smiled, the warmth of sisterhood wrapping around her. "It's heartbreaking, really. They don't see the damage they cause until it's too late." In the midst of their discussions, a surprising twist emerged. One of the women revealed that she had been dating someone who had left his wife for a younger partner, an unexpected connection to Emily's story. The shockwaves rippled through the group, each woman reflecting on the complexities of love, betrayal, and the choices people make. "Sometimes I wonder if they ever think about the pain they leave behind," another woman mused, "or if it's just about their own happiness." Emily felt a pang of understanding. "I used to think Jason was just selfish, but now I see he was also deeply flawed. Maybe he thought he was pursuing happiness, but at what cost?" As the evening wore on, Emily felt a sense of closure wash over her. She had transformed her heartbreak into a force for good, creating a community that fostered healing and understanding. Jason might have left her for someone younger, but he had unwittingly pushed her toward a purpose that would uplift others. Reflecting on the journey she had traveled, Emily realized that sometimes the most painful experiences lead to the most profound transformations. Her past no longer defined her. It had shaped her into a stronger, more compassionate person. As the last of the women departed, Emily stood in her backyard, gazing up at the stars. The night was still, the world around her filled with the sounds of distant traffic. She thought about the lives intertwined by choices made in moments of weakness and the strength found in shared vulnerability. "He left his wife for a younger woman," she whispered into the night, "but in the end, it was the truth about his ex that made the world cry. And you, on your porch, how will you transform your pain into purpose?" Emily's heart raced at the weight of her thoughts. She turned from the stars, her feet softly crunching on the gravel path as she made her way back to the house. Inside, the warmth of the living room embraced her, the flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows across the walls. The remnants of the evening lingered in the air, a blend of laughter, shared tears, and the rich scent of apple pie that reminded her of simpler times. As she poured herself a fresh cup of coffee, her phone buzzed on the counter. It was a message from Michael. "You were incredible tonight. Your strength is inspiring. I'm so proud of you." A smile broke across her face, and she felt a warmth blooming in her chest. Michael had been there through her darkest hours, and his unwavering support felt like a lifeline. Just as she was about to respond, Rachel entered the kitchen, her face illuminated by a soft glow of admiration. "You really have a gift, Em," she said, leaning against the doorframe. "I've never seen you so alive." "Thanks, Rach," Emily replied, her voice thick with emotion. "It feels good to connect with others, to know we're not alone in this." Rachel stepped closer, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "I've been thinking about everything you said tonight, about how our choices shape us. I know I wasn't there for you when you needed me most, but I want to change that." Emily reached out, squeezing her sister's hand. "It's never too late to start anew. We can support each other, move forward together." They shared a moment of silence, the weight of their shared history hanging in the air, but now tinged with hope. Outside, the distant hum of traffic continued, a reminder that life moved on, relentless and unyielding. "Let's make a pact," Rachel said suddenly, her voice firm. "To be there for each other no matter what. No more shadows, just light." Emily nodded, her heart swelling with a mixture of gratitude and determination. "I'd like that. Together, we can face anything." As they embraced, the world outside faded away, and in that small kitchen, they forged a bond that would withstand the trials ahead. Emily felt an exhilarating sense of purpose. She could not change the past, but she could shape the future, both for herself and for the women who needed her strength.